Here's one. I mean, you tell me. There's one here that says, do you guys believe Christian beliefs are especially harmful to children? Should we have mandatory education in schools that deal with religion for children and teens? And I'm not sure what that means about the mandatory education, but, give me some, is that a question you're interested in?
It's a tough topic because, I think parents have a lot of rights as far as teaching their children and raising them how they want, but there are components of these religious beliefs that I think are harmful. Just this Noah's Ark story is really sort of a might makes right, and mindless obedience to God is what's necessary, and you're expendable. Mm-hmm. Humans are expendable. I think those are terrible lessons for children, and the fear of hell is horrible. Mm-hmm. So there are a lot of very harmful aspects to it, I think, but I don't know that we as a society should necessarily be meddling with how parents raise their children, because that can certainly backfire.
Yeah, I don't think that I would necessarily be educating the children. I think we should educate the society, which is what we're trying to do here, right? We're trying to raise awareness. One of the things I did was I gave a talk, and there's some recordings of this online if anybody would like to go and see it. It was called something like, I forget, it was Religion and Family Values, basically. If you Google that with my name, you'll find it. And when I did that talk, it was dealing with a lot of the feedback that we've gotten at the show of people whose families have been torn apart by religion, like people that came forward to tell their families they didn't believe anymore and the horrible things that happened to them. And a lot of it depends on the type of religion that a person believes in, because believe it or not, and even when I did a talk on identity, which I don't think is available online, but I've talked about it a little bit, and what I found in both of those talks when I researched it was that some types of religion, depending on how the family handles it, can actually be beneficial to kids, right? And it's almost like if the family handles it, give you an example, it's like if they handle it like a soccer game, like if the kid goes to soccer practice and the family uses that as like a tool to come together and do stuff, then it becomes a positive influence because the family is using the religion as a sort of family thing, family bonding thing. Oh, okay. The harm starts to come in when the religion uses the family as a mechanism to propagate the religion. And then that's when the child, in a family where they're just using it as family bonding and they're not like adhering to it as some sort of you must, these are the rules and everyone obeys them. And it's not like ruling everything. When the family unit is the main thing and all of these things are just inputs to help the family love each other and be good to each other, then what happens is that if one child says, I'm going to be a Buddhist, the parents are like, okay, I guess we need to learn about Buddhism, right? Because Janie's going to be a Buddhist, so let's go look up Buddhism. Just like if the kid said, I don't want to play piano anymore, I want to take violin. The parents would be like, okay, we had you playing piano, we thought it would be a good...
I don't know how many families would be so open to that, but...
No, but the more liberal, the more liberal they are, the less they even... Like, these are the Christians that a lot of times were like, they don't even know what's in their Bible, because they're not that into it. Yeah. They're using it as a social support. And for them, if it falls away, it falls away. It's not a big deal. But for the ones where it is a big deal, that's when your family tears apart.
Well, one of the things that I think sheds some light here is this idea of authoritarianism. And authoritarian upbringings
yes, very much.
Are very scary in that, it is sort of a mindless following of the children follow the father, even the wife follows the father, and the father follows the church, these sorts of things. Yeah. And this idea of questioning or thinking for yourself is just verboten.
It's interesting that you said that. Yeah. There were two people that I was able to use as a resource when I was formulating these talks that I was able to reach out to and ask questions to that were professional psychiatrists for many years. And one of them wrote back and said, their response, I hadn't mentioned authoritarianism, but they came back and said, authoritarianism, there's volumes written about the damage. They're like, it's not even arguable.
Yeah, and I think, even today here in the United States, we are a very polarized country, and I think a lot of it has to do with one side is very authoritarian and the other side is very egalitarian, and I think that that's really at the core of a lot of the differences here, and we just sort of have very different values and different ways of looking at the world and behaving, and I don't know that there's an easy solution to it, except for us to mix and work together more.